Oh no, she has done it again. Meghan Markle has reportedly reduced one of Australia's most cherished television personalities to tears on set. Poh Ling Yeow, a household name and adored judge on MasterChef Australia, was left visibly shaken during filming. And let's be honest, this woman is not the oppressed figure she constantly paints herself as. She is calculating. She is opportunistic. Poh, on the other hand, appears to be genuinely and deeply loved across Australia. Given Meghan's long history of behaving exactly this way, the sources speaking to New Idea ring entirely true. That glare, that unmistakable glare. Meghan couldn't stand her. The self-absorption, the total absence of awareness from this woman is honestly breathtaking. Remember, Meghan Markle has a well-documented history of bullying. This is the same person who thought nothing of turning her venom on Princess Charlotte, a 3-year-old child. Meghan may have imagined that stepping onto MasterChef Australia would polish her image as a culinary figure. Instead, the appearance has spiraled into a master mess, because according to reports, Meghan reduced one of the co-hosts to tears over the use of the word royalty, which is genuinely absurd considering how obsessed this woman is with her own title. My belief, Lady C, is that this show actually violates the Sandringham Summit Agreement, and it has nothing to do with poor Poh saying the word royalty. It comes down to the fact that the entire challenge was literally titled "A Dish Fit for a Duchess." So there she is, using her royal title. And my understanding, Lady C, is that she was not doing this show for altruistic reasons. She was doing it for a fat paycheck from Channel 10. Meghan hits back, insisting she cannot fathom why the judge would be distressed. She had a wonderful time, but never from the perspective of Poh, because Meghan only thinks about herself. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle simply cannot stop generating the exact same headlines over and over. The MasterChef Australia episode hasn't even reached screens, yet the reports pouring out of Sydney paint a picture that will shock absolutely no one who has watched this couple for the past 8 years. The beloved judge, Poh Ling Yeow, a national treasure in Australia, left in tears on set. One forbidden word. And suddenly, the woman who slapped Duchess of Sussex across every product and public outing decides that the mere whisper of royalty is an unforgivable sin. This is the Meghan Markle pattern. She strolls into a room already filled with people who prefer whoever is standing beside her. And somehow, someone ends up crying while she glides out smiling for the next camera. Poh was simply trying to make Meghan feel welcome, trying to be warm. And you saw the look. That look. Meghan hated her. What I do have is a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills like just give me a sec. Writing stuff on bananas. I don't think anyone at Netflix could have previewed the show before release because it isn't entertainment. It isn't edifying in any way. It's genuinely bizarre. Meghan is nasty, absolutely nasty, and she cannot help herself because look at this. One of the MasterChef judges, Poh Ling Yeow, was reportedly left distraught after unintentionally slipping up by introducing Meghan Markle as royalty. It is understood that Meghan and her team were furious after specifically instructing MasterChef producers to avoid that particular word, royalty. Poh did what any warm, gracious host would do. She tried to make her guest feel special. She called Meghan Markle MasterChef royalty. A kind gesture, a smile, and apparently that was enough for Meghan's team to erupt. Reports claim Poh was mortified, desperate to apologize, and was told to keep her distance. The footage quietly vanished in the edit. They call it personality differences. When a major show has to erase its own headline guest from the final cut, that isn't editing. That is damage control. And the challenge Meghan then set? Cook a dish fit for a duchess. The very title she had banned 60 minutes earlier. One rule for everyone else, a completely different rule for Meghan Markle. Unfortunately for this woman, I don't think she actually enjoys being in a kitchen, and that is a genuinely tough sell. What is it like watching other celebrities, Gwyneth Paltrow, Meghan Markle, following in your footsteps, doing something you really pioneered? I don't mind. Good luck. Meghan, I don't really know very well. Meghan Markle disputes the frustration report. No. Why would Poh say that? Why would Chef Poh make that up? I had a great time. It was fine for me, just like it would be fine for the bully in high school viciously tormenting or striking a victim. Because Meghan Markle is a known bully, contestants reportedly walked straight past Meghan to seek advice from the actual judges. The biggest name on the planet was seated front and center, and the cooks treated her like a piece of furniture. Why? because Poh Ling Yeow walked in brighter, warmer, and more genuinely liked than Meghan has managed to be in years. Meghan Markle cannot share a spotlight. She never has. And when someone accidentally shines brighter than her, even through kindness, the temperature in the room plunges. The level of narcissism this woman carries is so extreme she cannot even privately admit to herself that she is a monster. She isn't stupid, but she is like fingernails on a chalkboard because absolutely nothing about her is authentic. Every speech she gives, every appearance she makes, she becomes a completely different personality. This is the woman who declared she is far too busy to actually cook, but she does know how to make takeaway look pretty. Let me guess. Sprinkle a few flower petals. Even that lands as, oh look, flower petals. Everyone please look at me. I sell flower petals, don't you know? It's going to be truly, truly awful. This is the same Meghan Markle whose Netflix cooking series earned a clean 0% from critics. Not low, zero. A second season crashed just as hard. Reviewers said the only reason anyone bothered watching was the faint chance Prince Harry might wander through the background. It never even scraped Netflix's top 300. Yet she still speaks about it as though it were a triumph and still markets herself as some form of domestic goddess. Accusations followed that she had lifted entire concepts from Martha Stewart and Pamela Anderson. When Martha was asked about it, she simply refused to comment. That silence spoke volumes. She is just someone who threw together a handful of dishes and thinks that qualifies her as an authority on cookery, on entertaining, on everything domestic. It's absurd, isn't it? When we produced our parody of Meghan's ridiculous Netflix show, watching her try to reinvent herself as the next Martha Stewart, we realized her one-pot pasta is a straight-up copy of Martha Stewart's one-pot pasta, which happens to be one of Martha's most iconic recipes. It really is a shameless ripoff. I'm sure Martha has heard about it and is probably thinking, who is this fool trying to impersonate me? Meanwhile, out of the other side of her mouth, Meghan whines about her castle being too small. Well, isn't that interesting? What I've learned about myself is that no matter what my name is or what people call me, I am still the same person, Meghan Goth. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle constructed an entire brand around lifestyle and kindness. Yet everyone who actually works with her describes something completely different. Palace staff reduced to tears, assistants resigning within months, formal complaints filed, a Sussex Survivors Club, grown men trembling before meetings with her. And every time these stories surface, the exact same machine rolls into action. A friendly magazine piece insisting everyone adores her, followed by a carefully timed Instagram avalanche of picture-perfect family photos. This week, the dump arrived on a young prince's birthday. Nothing is sacred when the narrative needs saving. Did you notice that moment? It was almost as cringeworthy. She thinks something is funny. It clearly isn't. She turns to Marcus Anderson, her gay best friend who's orchestrating all of this, expecting him to laugh along. And he's like, no way, just turn around, behave. I got you this gig, you foolish woman, just behave. And then she's fuming. It doesn't work for you to throw your shoulders back, chest out, headlights blazing, and try to look as, well, as possible. There could have been something misconstrued. The judge apparently wanted to reach out and apologize to Meghan Markle. I have no idea why, but she felt compelled to do so. Poh Ling Yeow wanted to apologize for a compliment. Meghan Markle's response, according to the reports, was to slam the door in her face. How dare anyone complain about her behavior? That is the consistent reaction. The same pattern that surfaced with palace staff in 2018. The same pattern that trailed her into Hollywood. The same pattern that has now emerged inside a Sydney kitchen. Prince Harry has spent years defending this. The results speak louder than any defense. But inside Meghan Markle's mind, how dare you complain about me being called a bully? That is egregious. How dare you? You are cut off. You no longer have access to me. It's just like her father, what she did to her own father. She's strutting around, arms flowing, feeling her oats. Woman, please go back to California, be with your children, and find a career other than desperately begging for attention every single day. The fallout between Meghan Markle and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. This traces all the way back to 2018, when none of this was public knowledge. Only those inside the royal family knew what Meghan was doing to people within the household. Catherine turned on Meghan specifically because of the way Meghan was bullying staff on the grounds of Kensington Palace. The 2018 palace complaints were never fully disclosed. A formal review was conducted and then buried. Harry reportedly pleaded for it to disappear. The women who walked away from those roles were real. The trembling aides were real. The Survivors Club chose that name for a reason. Poh Ling Yeow is just the newest addition to a roster that stretches across 3 continents and 8 years. We just heard how Poh attempted to share a little humor with her in the kitchen, and Meghan Markle wanted none of it. I suppose for Meghan Markle, a sense of humor means mocking someone the way she mocked Princess Charlotte or Princess Catherine or anyone unlucky enough to work with her. Yes, that is Meghan Markle's sense of humor. Belittling, mocking, sending people to Seattle to see a therapist. She wants to broadcast to the world that she is the boss, but she isn't really the boss. Harry has nothing left to give her. He served his purpose. That purpose is over. It is time for her to move on. The reporter who uncovered the HR documentation between senior palace officials revealed there had been a series of HR complaints stemming from Meghan Markle's bullying of staff, including personal assistants, that the palace wanted to formally investigate. MasterChef Australia was supposed to be a soft reset for Meghan Markle's image. Instead, it became yet another data point in the same tired story. A beloved local judge left upset. A challenge that used the very title she claimed to reject. Contestants who preferred the real experts. And the now familiar cleanup operation. Magazine quotes from someone close to Meghan, Instagram beach snapshots, and the insistence that everyone had a lovely time. MasterChef drama exploding before the episode even airs, which is so painfully typical of Harry and Meghan, especially Meghan. Nothing but drama and toxicity follows this woman wherever she goes, because one of the things she does most often is make people cry. You get the impression Meghan lives without an ounce of real stress, or she is embellishing, which I think, guys, Meghan does constantly. There are usually kernels of truth in what she says, but she always inflates them beyond recognition. Once a bully, always a bully. Isn't that the truth? Over a long stretch of time, across multiple continents, across multiple countries, the list of Meghan's victims grows and grows. At the time, Meghan tried to spin all of this as a witch hunt orchestrated by courtiers and commentators like me. But the moment she landed in Hollywood, the same story played out again, with damning reports from Vanity Fair and The Hollywood Reporter, and then the devastating accusations from Dr. Sophie Chandauka of the Sentabali organization, which are now heading to court. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle keep insisting the problem lies with everyone else. The media, the palace, the public, the judges who dare to use a polite phrase. Yet the list of people who walk away from working with her keeps expanding. Palace to Montecito to Sydney. The same outcome on a different continent. She is not doing this for the money. Don't you dare suggest it. She is not doing this for the money. She is doing it because it is her love language. Okay, not surprising. Meghan has a reputation, so now they must spin it positively. Oh, no, no, no. Meghan had a wonderful time on MasterChef Australia. Sources dispute the frustration report. It is nothing but a propaganda outlet at this point. They aren't doing real journalism. I don't trust any of their royal reporting anymore except pieces like this, because I know they came straight from Harry and Meghan's team. And the point is, they came from Harry and Meghan's team, so Meghan can dispute the public narrative. The timing of the Instagram photo drop was anything but subtle. Holiday grins and family perfection landed on the exact day the bullying reports dominated the headlines, and on a day that should have belonged to another young royal. Even the Althorpe photo appeared in the mix. When the narrative is under fire, nothing is off limits. She is trying to divert from negative coverage in People magazine, and it isn't going to work. She is also likely attempting to distract from Prince Harry's disastrous last few weeks, during which he face-planted so hard into the UK, he left an imprint of his face and was publicly humiliated by the High Court. She invents an imaginary slight, so she never has to take responsibility for her own behavior. And the fact that the royal family continues to entertain and endorse this behavior isn't helpful. But good on Chef Poh for actually speaking out and exposing her, because I know there have been clips of Chef Poh speaking about how wonderful and beautiful Meghan Markle is. Poh Ling Yeow's earlier promotional comments were warm because that is simply who she is. The later reports reveal what happened after the cameras stopped rolling, when protocol demands collided with reality. Meghan Markle's team was furious. Poh was upset. Production told her to drop it. That is the version that matters. That was during the early stage when they needed to promote the show and lock this woman in. The truth has finally emerged. But enough is enough. This woman is a bully. They are wondering whether this marriage can even survive it. For now, the Sussexes remain publicly united, but behind the doors of palaces and Hollywood mansions, the whispers grow louder. They may be entering a very different solo chapter. So all I can really say to the competitors is just remember to have fun, keep a sense of humor about it, and cook from the heart. Oh, what wonderful wisdom, Meghan. Thank you so much for that. Yes. Cook from the heart. Is this the sort of cooking you do, Meghan? Let me think, when you're baking dog biscuits or when you're teaching us how to make jam? Cook from the heart, she told professional contestants racing against the clock. The very same woman whose own show was accused of stealing recipes, whose home kitchen reportedly relies on actual chefs, and whose public advice consistently lands as pure performance. Viewers noticed. They always do. Is that what we're talking about here? Or is it when you're sitting at a table teaching us to make Christmas crackers and explaining how people in the UK cross their arms and pull them? Is that what we're referring to? Because of course, Meghan is an expert on the table. She knows everything about how to arrange a table. The reporting coming out of Australia said Meghan had invited herself onto MasterChef Australia as a guest. If we were raised properly, you do not invite yourself to places you have not been invited to. It isn't just about etiquette, it comes down to self-respect. Why else was she there if not for the title and the attention that still clings to it? The woman who insists on being called Duchess at every possible opportunity suddenly cannot tolerate the word royalty on a cooking show. That contradiction is the whole story. Meghan Markle reportedly, quote, frustrated. The word royal was used during the MasterChef appearance. Well, why else was she there? Why else was she there? April 20th. While it seemed like a fitting introduction, a source told News Australia on Monday, April 20th, that the As Ever founder and her team are, quote, very frustrated, adding that they had specifically made clear they did not want the word royal used. The source claims, quote, they were outside the doors when it was filmed, so they didn't know what had been said. Add it all up. A 0-rated cooking show, accusations of copying other women's work, a model laughed at on a Paris runway the second the cameras caught the real reaction, palace staff driven out, aides shaking before meetings, a survivors club, and now a beloved Australian judge in tears over a single polite word, 8 years, 3 continents, the same woman. Prince Harry keeps standing beside her. The pattern never shifts. Meghan Markle is attempting to distract by flooding Instagram with holiday photos, her summer vacation snapshots, despite the reports that she brought one of the co-hosts on MasterChef essentially to tears. But she bullied people in a genuinely ugly way here. She sees it as character building. When it is flipped on her, though, suddenly it becomes, how dare you call me out for bullying someone? Because in her mind, like every bully, harming others is acceptable. Being called out for it is unforgivable. Poh Ling Yeow is simply the newest name on a list that keeps stretching longer. The question is no longer whether the reports are accurate. The real question is how many more people must be reduced to tears before the public narrative finally aligns with the private reality. Meghan Markle in New York, when she went to conduct an interview at a friend's house, she had her staff announce her into the living room as the Duchess of Sussex arriving. When she went to that restaurant in Beverly Hills or wherever it was, she rolled up in that little golf cart. And then the reporter said her assistant announced to the world that the Duchess of Sussex is coming. So are you telling me that Meghan Markle, who loves reminding people that she ranks above everyone else in her own mind, would have a problem with Judge Poh saying, we have royalty in the house? Because that is exactly how Meghan sees herself. He's just wearing that vile expression, the very kind she used to fire at Catherine and Prince Harry constantly, just days before the show's airing, which was supposed to be a major moment for the fake Duchess using her Duchess title to profit inside the entertainment industry. So the fact that poor Poh mentioned the word royalty is completely beside the point. It is the use of the word Duchess as part of a challenge on a reality TV show, which I believe would have left the late Queen Elizabeth utterly appalled. I imagine her PR team fanned out looking for anyone remotely interested in her appearance, and she said, yes, let's do MasterChef. Because one of the things Meghan Markle has continually tried to build, and we've discussed this before, but it deserves repeating, is a business rooted in the kitchen. She has a show rooted in the kitchen. How many names is it now? Count them out loud in the comments if you dare. Start with the palace assistants who lasted less than a year. Add the aides who trembled before meetings. Include the grown men reduced to tears in Montecito. Factor in the charity staff, the security teams, the producers, and now Poh Ling Yeow, a woman so beloved across Australia that an entire country feels protective of her. That list never stops growing. It just changes cities. London, Hollywood, Sydney, same outcome every single time. Prince Harry has stood beside Meghan Markle through all of it, defending the narrative, burying the reviews, smiling for the cameras, while the wreckage piles up behind the scenes. Who is next? Another judge, another assistant, another charity that believed the Sussex name would open doors only to be left bruised. Or will it finally be someone close enough that even the perfectly timed Instagram photo dumps and the friendly magazine quotes can no longer paper over it? And the question no one in their orbit ever wants answered. Does Meghan Markle ever actually pay a real price for any of it? 8 years of the same pattern. Zero accountability. The reviews get buried. The magazines run the cleanup. Instagram lights up with beach smiles and family perfection. On the exact day the latest victim's name hits the headlines. Then she moves on to the next kitchen, the next set, the next person who won't see it coming until it is far too late. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have turned this cycle into a lifestyle. Kindness lectures on Monday, tears by Tuesday, distraction campaign by Wednesday, and the public is expected to have forgotten by Thursday. If this commentary has finally made the pattern impossible to ignore, hit that like button so more people stop buying into the staged photos and the recycled excuses. Subscribe and turn on the notifications. There is far more coming this week, including the Montecito marriage whispers no one in California will say to her face, and why the timing of that latest photo dump has people asking questions Prince Harry would much rather keep buried. This is where the mask keeps slipping, and we are right here watching every single time it does. Drop your count in the comments, name every person you can remember. The list is longer than they want you to.